Hey guys, or should I say, hey howdy hey guys. What's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video, and welcome to Animated Sequel Movie Week. Yes, throughout this week, I will be reviewing a batch of animated sequel films, and yeah, because basically all computer animated sequel films, so just so you know, but yeah. And that's right. What better way to start off Animated Sequel Movie Week with one of the world's first ever computer animated sequels, and, you know, and if not, one of the best animated computer animated sequels of all time. No doubt about it. It's a fact. And yeah, that's right. I am finally reviewing, and which I consider my personal favorite of the Toy Story films. That's right. From 1999, Toy Story 2. Yes. Toy Story 2, again, the world's first ever computer animated sequel. Yeah. It's amazing. Like, what can you say? What can you say about Toy Story 2? You know, it's fantastic. And this being Toy Story's first ever sequel, and again, the world's first ever computer animated sequel, how this turned out, and knowing the history and the behind the scenes of what went down making Toy Story 2, it was a rush for Pixar, and they only had, 9 months to complete this, and, thus they can reach the deadline, and, well, all those 9 months were worth it. Yeah. Yeah, Toy Story 2, like I said, it's a personal favorite of mine from the Toy Story films. Now, no hard feelings on, say, the first Toy Story film. If you've seen my review, but for those of you that haven't, go watch it. I don't hate the first Toy Story film. I've made that really clear. I respect for what it is. I think it's really good. But, we all have our favorite Toy Story films, right? So for me, it's gotta be Toy Story 2. I mean, it's kind of a tie between this and number 3, but mainly it's number 2 for me, okay? Man, when I was little, I watched the heck out of Toy Story 2 God knows how many times, and, yeah, I somehow have a little bit of memory. When I was a toddler, after going trick-or-treating, I dressed up as Woody, and after Halloween was done, we made it back home, and, I sat down, my mom fixed me some chicken nuggets, and I watched Toy Story 2. And I even remember, there was a photo taken of me, in my little stool and such, eating chicken, watching Toy Story 2. Man, I tell ya. Because you can imagine, because how much of an impact the Toy Story films have brought to us, and even say, us 2000s babies, and especially when watching the first 2 Toy Story films, and anybody like me, constantly watching Toy Story 2. Not to mention, people say that Toy Story 2 is better, if not better than, the first one. And yeah, but again, no hard feelings on the first Toy Story film, that being a masterpiece, and, well, it made movie history without a doubt, and, well, for that matter, animation history. Yeah, being the world's first computer animated film. And then when its sequel came along, that being the first ever computer animated sequel. I tell ya. Yeah, just all the fond memories of watching Toy Story 2, with its characters and the story that Toy Story 2 delivers, and with new toys stepping in, and with some heavy emotion in this film, but at the same time, it doesn't fail to deliver us some, hilarious moments, and, some surprises here and there, Yeah, and just what more do I have to say? Toy Story 2, an animated sequel masterpiece, without a doubt. Yeah. Okay, so, as always, for me, read the description / the story. Woody is stolen from his home by a toy dealer Al McWegan, that's his last name. I never really knew about his last name, leaving Buzz Lightyear and the rest of the gang, toy gang, basically, to try to rescue him. But when Woody discovers that he's actually a valuable collectible from a once popular television show called Woody's Roundup, and is reunited with his horse Bullseye, Jessie, the yodeling cowgirl, and his faithful sidekick, Stinky Pete, the prospector, he doesn't want to leave. Yeah. Okay, so with that out of the way, some background, and yeah, long story, but try to keep it short, yeah, because, well, ever since, the first Toy Story film was released, it changed, animation forever and movies and such. And sometime after Toy Story, and when A Bug's Life was soon stepping in, well, John Lasseter was coming back from a vacation or something at an airport, and he spotted a little boy with a Woody doll, and he was so excited to show it to his daddy, and this touched John, and a light bulb struck to him that he felt as though, and rightfully so, that there should be another Toy Story movie for that little boy and to everybody else in the world who fell in love with the characters and the first Toy Story film. So, when it came to pitching an idea for a sequel to Toy Story, well, Disney approved of this, and Joe Roth, however his last name is, if you know who I'm talking about, Jeffrey Katzenberg's replacement, he liked the idea, and he greenlit it. And originally, Toy Story 2 was going to be a direct-to-DVD sequel, and seeing as how, at that time, Disney was starting to do direct-to-DVD/video sequels, starting with The Return of Jafar, and it was going to be just like how Return of Jafar was, but later on, they felt as though that this should be theatrical, and rightfully so, yeah. And being the next/third film in Pixar's lineup of films, and, well, after A Bug's Life, yeah. And when it came to A Bug's Life, well, John and the rest of the Pixar team still being busy with A Bug's Life, and that's when John brought in, two guys who would be co-directors for Toy Story 2, Ash Brannon and Lee Unkrich. And new animators stepped in to do the animation for Toy Story 2. Steve Jobs brought in the animators doing those Toy Story CD-ROM games, So he basically had them stop doing those, and he brought them on board to be the animators for Toy Story 2. And while John was still doing A Bug's Life, and when he came back from a European trip to promote A Bug's Life, he went to see how the movie was doing, and he and everybody else felt that it was not a good sign. Like, it was not turning out good as what they were hoping for. And they wrote to Disney asking if they can redo the whole thing, but, Disney's response, and it's something that John and the rest of the Pixar guys did not want to hear. Nah, it's okay. It's not bad, and besides, you don't have time at all to reach the, when you reach the deadline, that whole thing. But to John and the rest of the Pixar crew, they were like, screw it, we're gonna restart it. We're taking the risk. And boy, did they for sure did. So, for 9 months, literally 9 months, and as I said, they basically had no time to rest or party around. They just had to go, get this done, get this fast, and so on. And even after, when A Bug's Life was complete, yeah. But yeah, again, for 9 months, they had to work their butts off from, storyboarding, acting out the animation, the movements and such, and, well, even, obviously, they had no problem with the voice casting, them recording their lines. Not to mention because, most of them, they did record some of their lines with how Toy Story 2 was originally going to turn out. Like, if you know the story of what the original story for Toy Story 2 was going to be about, yeah. And even, say, at one point, someone I want to say, like, accidentally put in, like, a code or something. You know what I'm talking about. And the film was almost gone completely. It almost vanished. But thankfully, Galen, what's her last name? She just so happened to have an extra copy of Toy Story 2. Yeah. And, she saved the movie. She saved the day. And thus, Toy Story 2 still being underway. And when it made the deadline, after all those 9 months, and they managed to reach the deadline in November of 1999, look how it turned out. Fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah. Not to mention because I meant to mention this earlier, not only, Toy Story 2 being a part of Animated Sequel Movie Week, but also Hanksgiving. It's true. If you know Hanksgiving, you know. But anyways, just overall, after all that hard work, all those 9 months for the poor Pixar crew, well, they managed to make one heck of a successful animated sequel. Again, the world's first ever computer animated sequel. Yeah. So, getting into the film itself, oh boy, because, what a heck of a way for this movie to open, because, we don't start off in Andy's room. We start out in space. And, the Gamma Quadrant, Sector 4, and we see Buzz Lightyear flying and making his way to an uncharted planet, or presumably it's probably Planet Z, I guess, but, and just, what do I have to say about the opening sequence? Like, it's amazing, because starting out in space, and we see Buzz Lightyear and, in search of the evil Emperor Zurg and his power module. And when coming face-to-face with the Zurg bots, or they're also referred to as Zurg's Hornets, and just numerous and thousands of the Zurg bots / Hornets, and vaporizing them, destroying them, and finding an underground passage to Zurg's lair and stuff like that, and Zurg unleashing some spikes, and Buzz, dodging them, and manages to escape from those spikes, and when he sees and locates Zurg's power module floating, and, hopping on those, floating, plates, and even, it plays the 2001 A Space Odyssey theme, and when, he doesn't make it, they drop, and, well, he has his, belt, using it to make a shield, and that makes him fly, and, well, trying to reach for the power module, which being a battery, well, it's not actually there, it's just a hologram. Zurg tricked him, and enter, the evil Emperor Zurg. Yeah, you saw the thumbnail, you know. So, enter the evil Emperor Zurg, and, which, by the way, because the evil Emperor Zurg being voiced by one of the co-writers and fathers of Toy Story, Andrew Stanton. Yeah, I bet some of you probably didn't know that. Maybe most of you do, but for those of you that haven't, well, yeah, now you know. And a little fight between Zurg and Buzz, but in the end, Buzz loses to Zurg, literally obliterated, and only his legs and torso are left, and, well, turns out it was a video game. Rex was playing a video game, trying to be a space ranger, and it's very nice that Buzz compliments Rex that he's a better space ranger than he is. And then we see Woody, and, the cast of characters, Tom Hanks once again voicing Woody, Tim Allen once again voicing Buzz Lightyear, Wallace Shawn once again voicing our favorite T-Rex toy, Rex, and well, Woody is desperately trying to look for his hat because Andy is going to take Woody with him to cowboy camp. Andy is about to disembark to go to cowboy camp, and having Woody tag along with him. But for Woody, because, well, he had been looking forward for this a whole year, and, well, to him it just doesn't seem, right that he doesn't have his hat with him, because, he can't be a sheriff / a cowboy without a hat, yeah. But even, Bo Peep, and Bo Peep once again being voiced by Annie Potts, reassuring Woody and giving her some good advice and a fact that, you know, having Woody look under his boot, and, well, it says Andy, and, well, as she says to him, you know, the boy who wrote it, you know, would take you with or without your hat. Yeah. And probably Andy, you know, wouldn't mind at all if, you know, Woody didn't have his hat, you know, presumably. And seeing all the other characters, and some of them, they are helping out looking for Woody's hat. Once again, we have Sarge, once again being voiced by the late Arlie Armory, if I'm properly pronouncing his last name right. Again, you know me sometimes. John Ratzenberger, Pixar's Lucky Charm, once again, obviously, voicing Ham, the piggy bank. And Mr. Potato Head, once again, being voiced by the late Don Rickles. And enter one of the new toys, Mrs. Potato Head, being voiced by, Estelle Harris. And because, well, Mrs. Potato Head being mentioned at the end of the first Toy Story film, when Christmas happened, and, you know, Andy got a Mrs. Potato Head, and, you know, Mr. Potato Head was over the moon happy about this. And even when he went for a shave. Yeah, because we see that. And the romance that the Potato Heads have, it's very sweet, yeah. And how happy Mr. Potato Head is, having a Mrs. Potato Head by his side. You know, again, after Bo Peep reassures Woody, and is getting a bit naughty with Woody, as we all know, because the sweet romantic relationship between Bo and Woody, and, oh, not in front of Buzz, let him look. Jeez, Bo. They're really just wanting everybody to see this. Would you consider getting a room? Just get a room, you two. And then we see Bo's sheep. You know, they do have names. Billy, Gruff, Goat, you know, they're, you know, and as their names were revealed in the fourth installment. But anyways, like, Rex is having a tussle with them because of the game controller, and Bo getting their attention, and, well, Rex accidentally turning on the TV, and we see a commercial spot for Al's Toy Barn. And Al, and I would say, wouldn't you think so too, that Al is one of the antagonists? I think he is, especially from the toys' point of view. And we know what Al is like and what he's doing in this movie, so why would he not be considered an antagonist? I'm just saying, I'm sure you guys would think so too. Al, being voiced by good old Wayne Knight, and by the way, not long after Wayne Knight would voice Al, well, he would be in something else Toy Story related, as we all know, in Buzz Lightyear Star Command, voicing the evil Emperor Zurg. Yeah, because not long after Toy Story 2, we would get Buzz Lightyear Star Command, and with the pilot movie and the shows, you know. If you know, you know, and good on you. So yeah, again, a commercial spot for Al's Toy Barn is playing, and turning it off, and Ham's comment, I despise that chicken. And enter Slinky, once again, and for the last time, sadly, being voiced by the late Jim Varney. And after this, he would have a couple of other projects, like say, a movie with Billy Bob Thornton, if you know that one. And, well, most notably, one of his very last movies was Atlantis, The Lost Empire, where he voices Cookie. Yeah. So yeah, again, for one last time, sadly, Jim Varney voicing Slinky, and Slinky coming in with good news and bad news. The good news is he found Woody's hat, and the bad news is, well, enter Andy's dog, Buster, which was mentioned at the very end of the first Toy Story film, where Andy, he got a puppy for Christmas, and that being Buster. You know, I think it's obvious, because when looking at, say, Scud. Yeah, Scud. I don't know why, I just about almost forgot his name. Sorry. Scud, when looking at, when comparing, Scud and Buster, animation-wise, like, yeah. No offense to how Scud looked in the first Toy Story. I mean, you know, especially as of now, because when looking back at the first Toy Story, they tried with humans and animals, just Scud, but I think as Doug Walker put it at best, as of now, because they look awkward, and we know that they were trying, and just, let's not give them a hard time on that. They tried. So bear with Pixar on the first Toy Story with them attempting to do humans and doing a dog, which means Scud. But I feel as though by Toy Story 2, I feel as though even when rewatching the movie, I think the humans and Buster, especially Buster, they look pretty good. I don't see the problem with them. I mean, especially when The Incredibles happened, that's when Pixar really managed to succeed on, bringing humans to life in computer animation. By The Incredibles, yeah. But I'm just saying, I feel as though from, say, Toy Story 2, Monsters Incorporated, and Finding Nemo, all of the humans and the animals in those 3 films, they looked fine to me, and I'm sure you guys would think so too, yeah. I mean, no animals in Monsters, Inc., but, and not really in Finding Nemo, just, birds and the fish, but you get my point. And in Monsters, Inc., Boo still, still looks pretty good, even like, of course, the simulated kid and the black kid, just, you get my point, but anyways. So yeah, again, enter Buster, and, well, we think at first that Buster is going after Woody and probably is gonna chew on Woody, but no, it's playtime, and, a record as it's shown on Mr. Spell. And yeah, the bonding between Buster and Woody, adorable. And then enter Andy, and Andy, once again, being voiced by young, John Morris, yeah. Once again, voicing Andy, and how he previously voiced Andy in the first Toy Story film, and how it was amazing to see that they brought him back to voice Andy in the next 2 installments, yeah. And just briefly, for Toy Story 4, just like at least like one or 2 lines, but yeah. Andy preparing to go to cowboy camp again still, and, well, 5 minutes until he and his mom have to leave, and, well, to Andy, to him, 5 minutes, well, because, 5 minutes of playtime, yeah, he has a good chunk of time to play with his toys, and playing a bit of evil Dr. Pork Chop, but in the end of playtime, well, because, Woody's arm attached to Buzz, Woody and Buzz Lightyear, and Andy accidentally, not intentionally, ripping Woody's arm. I almost said Andy. Woody's arm. And, well, this is where things get emotional, yeah, at first. Andy, I think it's obvious because that happened, he's not risking taking Woody with him to cowboy camp, because, possibly things could get worse, and Andy's not risking anymore, and just has Andy be left at home, and as his mom says to him, toys don't last forever, not to mention that Woody is a rag doll, so, with how he's made, and not to mention, Mrs. Davis, Andy's mom, once again, being voiced by Laurie Metcalf. I think, yeah, I'm getting her last name right. And who previously voiced her in the first Toy Story, and would go on to, reprise the role of Andy's mom in the later installments. And we would also remember her best for, say, Roseanne and The Big Bang Theory. Yeah, so, great actress. So, yeah, Woody now being shelved, and this is a shocker for Woody and the toys. This is the first time ever, especially for Andy's favorite toy, Woody, to be shelved. And thus, Andy heading off to cowboy camp for the weekend, and I'm pretty sure because, yeah, just for the weekend that he's going to cowboy camp. So, yeah. Yeah, and just Woody feeling depressed by this, but we think at first, and well, it seems as though that Andy has returned to cowboy camp, Andy being happy to reunite with his favorite toy, but, seeing that, yeah, and he forgot that Woody is still broken, and just out of nowhere, I don't want to play with you anymore, and it's obvious, and when you realize that, yeah, this is more likely a dream, and fun fact, the nightmare sequence in Toy Story 2, it was an original idea for the first Toy Story. That also goes for the opening sequence of Toy Story 2 with Buzz Lightyear, the Evil Emperor Zurg. They were originally considered for Toy Story 1, but when it came to Toy Story 2, they reworked those and managed to find a way to have them be in Toy Story 2, and they succeeded, yeah. And yeah, just Woody's nightmare sequence, well, terrifying, obviously, and just that garbage, can with all those hands, and just, jeez. Some of them being Mr. Potato Head, Rock'em Sock'em, and Rocky, one of Andy's toys, Rocky, some of his arms, yeah. But yeah, thankfully it was a dream, and Woody stumbling upon, on top of the shelf, another toy that had been shelved, Wheezy the Squeezed Penguin, being voiced by the late Pixar legend Joe Ranft. Yep. Wheezy, who doesn't love Wheezy? Yeah. And, well, Wheezy being shelved too, and Woody felt that, he had gotten a new squeaker, and, well, Andy was so upset, according to Woody, because, Wheezy's squeaker broke, but according to Wheezy, Andy's mom just told Andy that to calm him down. Jeez, could they, there no way to have Wheezy get a new squeaker? But until at the end of the movie, but until we get there. But yeah, Wheezy, too, being depressed and feeling that, he has failed his duties as being a toy, and, we're all just one stitch away from being here to there, and pointing out to Woody outside of the house that, well, Andy's mom is putting up a yard sale. Yeah, that's not a good sign. And a roll call happens, and then Andy's mom steps in, and the stuff that she takes from her son's room that he doesn't play with anymore. And even one moment where she, grabs Rex, and Rex thinks that he's gonna be, but no, just to move him aside and to take like a board game or something. And, well, going on top of the shelf, well, one of them she goes for is Wheezy. Ugh, yeah. And just, when she kind of squeaked Wheezy a bit, bye, Woody, oh man, isn't that not heart-wrenching, just hearing that from Wheezy? And Woody, he's got to do something about this, and, well, he calls for Buster, and thus Woody goes after and rescues Wheezy. The toys don't realize what he's doing until they see, and Buzz looking through Lenny, the binoculars, and they do see, and when Woody reaches to Wheezy, yeah, that they realize it's a rescue. It's not suicide, it's a rescue, says Rex, and yeah, and making their way back to the house, but at one point, when Buster made a jump, yeah, Woody fell off, and, well, a little girl snatched Woody, and then the little girl's mother, you don't want to play with it, it's broken, and then when because the string was pulled, and, in Woody's voice box, there's a snake in my boot, and, well, someone hears that and is delighted to hear it, and, well, that being Al. Yeah, Al is happy to see the Woody doll, and even when seeing his hat, a hat! I found him! And then enter Andy's mom, and she sees that Al is carrying Woody, and, well, taking it from Al, and she knows that, well, Woody is obviously not for sale, and protecting Woody, locking him in a box and such. But Al has a trick up his sleeve, and he causes like a skateboard to hit something to distract Andy's mom, and thus he toy naps Woody, and Buzz trying to go after and save Woody, but he has no luck, and when trying to open the trunk of Al's car, but yeah. However, Buzz did manage to see the back of the license plate of Al's car, and even a piece of a feather from the trunk, flew out, and Buzz, has it, and the toys just, can't believe what just happened, and even Bo questioning herself, why would someone steal Woody? And yeah, well, they don't know that, and we don't know that just yet. Why did he toy nap Woody? Well, later on, and when he gets back to his apartment, and a terrifying moment, especially for Woody, there's a sign outside of the apartment building that says, "No children allowed." Yeah. Oh boy. Well, back at Andy's house, a toy meeting happens, trying to figure out who the man is that toy-napped Woody. And for Buzz, he's trying to figure this out on Mr. Speller because of the license plate of the back of Al's car. And when it all comes clear, toy, hold on. And he realizes and puts it together that, yeah, Al's toy barn, and telling Mr. Spell to... I'm sorry, not Mr. Spell, Edge. Yeah, Edge, Mr. Spell, don't want to get them mixed up. Edge was basically, drawing the victim, the toy napper, and when it came to Buzz, telling Edge to draw the man in the chicken suit, thus they now know it's the chicken man, from Al's toy barn. It's Al. So... And when coming to Al's apartment, well, he is dressed up in his chicken suit, preparing to head to his store and to shoot a commercial. And, what he says to the Woody doll, you little cowboy are gonna make me bucks. God. And Woody desperately trying to escape, but no luck. Like, not able to reach for the door, especially since his arm is, broken, and not really having that much luck trying to move it. I mean, he managed to, like, when he whistled for Buster using the broken arm, just, and when looking out the window, yeah, he can see that it's a tall building. Yeah, not a good idea to try to jump out of the building. And well, it's funny, Al, because his apartment is not that far from his store. Literally just driving across right at the other side of the street, the road. Just, God, he can't just walk over there. Well, it's what he does. And, well, when Woody tries to go for the air ducts, the vents, well, that's when he hears a noise from a box, and those cloud stuff, the foamy stuff from those boxes. Seeing that on the floor, and well, we see a horse, riding around with Woody on top of him, and then we see a cowgirl. Enter Bullseye and Jessie. Two other new toys in Toy Story. And Bullseye, well, actually, because I was almost about to say voiced by, but no, because Bullseye, he doesn't have a voice. He is more like a puppy dog. And actually, fun fact, the original story for Toy Story 2, Bullseye was originally going to talk, and Martin Short was considered to voice Bullseye. Maybe he would have been good. Because who doesn't love Martin Short? I mean, but I think we'd all be glad that, especially for my mom. Shout out to my mom, because, yeah, she loves Bullseye. We'd all be glad that, yeah, Bullseye ended up not talking and acting like a puppy dog. Yeah, so... But for Jessie, well, yeah, enter Jessie, the yodeling cowgirl, being voiced by Joan Cusack. Who doesn't love Joan Cusack? And the voice performance that she gives to our favorite yodeling cowgirl toy, yeah, fantastic. Her overjoy seeing and meeting Woody, and when we also see another new toy, another, cowboy doll, but it's a prospector. Enter Stinky Pete, aka the Prospector, being voiced by good old Kelsey Grammer, aka Dr. Fraser Crane. And I think it's obvious that the Pixar guys, they obviously love Cheers as well as Frasier, because let's face it, and it's obvious, because having John Ratzenberger, David Hyde Pierce, and Kelsey Grammer in some of their Pixar films. Well, I mean, most notably with John Ratzenberger, as I said, and as we all know, he is Pixar's Lucky Charm. But yeah, David Hyde Pierce, the younger brother, Niles Crane, before Toy Story 2, well, we had Niles Crane in A Bug's Life voicing Slim the Stick Bug, one of the members of P.T. Flea Circus, and then right after that, Niles' older brother, Fraser Crane, would be in something else Pixar in Toy Story 2 as Stinky Pete. You see? That's amazing. Yeah, so again, Kelsey Grammer voicing the Prospector, and, well, it's Kelsey Grammer. He, of course, does not disappoint being the voice of the Prospector, and it's amazing that he uses his regular voice. He doesn't give the Prospector, like, a Prospector voice. I mean, aside from, say, the Woody's Roundup show that we see in Toy Story 2, now in that, Prospector had a Prospector voice, but the toy Prospector, no, just a normal, voice, and with Kelsey Grammer's voice, yeah. And yeah, so Prospector, Jessie, and Bullseye, they're all delighted to see Woody. He is completely puzzled. Woody is completely puzzled, like, how do they know his name? And he doesn't know who he is, but when they show who he is, well, he's a valuable, collectible toy, and he was very popular, and he had a show, he had his merchandise, and when playing tapes of Woody's Roundup, Woody now sees, and he's starting to like this, like, wow, just, yeah. And also, fun fact, Tom Hanks, that was his actual reaction, because with Woody reacting to all the Woody's Roundup merchandise, holy cow, like, that was Tom Hanks's actual, reaction, because he was being shown, like, the Woody's Roundup stuff, and that was his actual reaction, and with Woody, so... And back at Andy's house, because the toy gang still, trying to find more evidence and to know the exact location where to rescue and find Woody, and they think at first, it's Al's toy barn. He's gone there, but little do they know, he's at Al's apartment. So, when looking for the commercial of Al's Toy Barn on TV, Rick's having no luck, then Ham, tapping the remote and such, and when they find it, and, well, Edge, drawing the map and coordinates to Al's Toy Barn, and Buzz, well, he's not giving up, and even what he addresses to the toys, because, especially after what Woody did for him in the first Toy Story, yeah, it's so obvious. Returning the depth, and, well, you've got a friend in me. Absolutely. And, and Buzz asking, so who's with me? Well, those that join and accompany Buzz to rescue and find Woody, Mr. Potato Head, Rex, Slinky, and Ham. And Mrs. Potato Head packing up her hubby's gear and stuff like that. And Bo telling Buzz, this is for Woody when you find him, kissing him on the cheek or something. Yeah, that's not how it works, but, knowing the character of Bo. And a very sweet moment for Wheezy asking Buzz, to find his friend Woody, especially, after what Woody did for Wheezy, Woody rescuing Wheezy. And Woody knew that, there is a chance and hope for Wheezy, and not to be forgotten, and, well, Andy still loving and playing with Wheezy and all the other toys. Yeah. Because Woody knows Andy very well, and even as Buzz learns this, and with the other toys, yeah, so thus they disembark to find and rescue and bring back Woody, and a very funny improvised line from Estelle Harris as Mr. Potato Head, don't talk to any toys you don't know. Now, originally she was supposed to say, don't talk to any strangers, but Estelle, she took it the other way, and rightfully so, because you know what? It makes sense. And it's still hilarious. Don't talk to any toys you don't know, as she shouts out, to Al's Toy Barn and beyond. Yep. And well, because back at Al's apartment, the rest of the VHS tapes that they're watching of Woody's Roundup, and when Woody discovers that, well, the last one, it leaves off on a cliffhanger, and literally, because Woody and Bullseye, they jump, from one cliff to the other, yeah. And I gotta say, because the animation, and for, the Woody's Roundup show, being in black and white, and the Woody's Roundup characters being puppets, and you could see the string, just really good, really good. And like I said, Prospector and that having a Prospector voice. My biscuits are burning! I wonder why, because, not just that, Toy Story Mania as well. If you know this, because Stinky Pete making an appearance in Toy Story Mania, and he talks in a Prospector voice. I don't know. I mean, and if Kelsey Grammer wanted to do a Prospector voice throughout the film, I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure that is him, right? Voicing Prospector in the Woody's Roundup show, with a Prospector voice. And if so, he was good at it. But no, I mean, for the toy of Prospector, it's just, Kelsey Grammer's natural speaking voice. And you know what? It works. Yeah. And for that character. And yeah, because Woody just wondering why it got canceled and, how awesome to him it is. Well, Prospector making it very clear. 2 words, Sputnik. Once the astronauts went up, children only wanted to play with space toys. And that is a fact, for sure. Yeah, the Westerns kind of disappeared, and when, we went up to the moon, enters science fiction in the world of cinema. But I mean, the Western genre never really died. And besides, it's very important. Who doesn't still love the Western genre? I do, and I'm sure some of you do too. If any of you that are into the Western genre, I mean, and also if any of you like me are into both genres, Western and science fiction, and then Woody admiring all the other valuable collectible items of Woody's Roundup from a bank. A Woody face where, you throw the ball, it knocks out a tooth, and also a bubble blower, and a snake in a boot, and a record player, and having a little fun with the record player, going fast and slow. And then Woody realizing, and when Stinky Pete mentions, now it's off to the museum, and museum, like, what are you saying? And, well, that's when Stinky Pete and Jessie give Woody the news that, well, they are going to go to a toy museum in Japan. And to Woody, no, he can't do that because, well, he's got to get back to his owner, Andy. And when they see that, and when Woody unveils that under one of his boots, Andy's name, they are shocked and upset by this, especially Jessie. She can't go back into storage because claustrophobic, that whole thing. And I feel as though for Toy Story 2, it taught kids the whole thing of like claustrophobic and so on. You know what I'm saying? Very true. I think very true. Yeah. And well, Woody, then like trying to explain that, he didn't do any of this intentionally because of him having an owner. And, well, when mentioning that he was in a yard sale, but Prospector asking him these questions that are not true, like, did this Andy break you? And, well, of course, yes, but not intentionally. So, and, even Woody saying that, he wasn't supposed to be in the yard sale. He was trying to save a toy, which being Wheezy. Yeah. And just things get heated and even not just for Prospector a little, but Jessie. Sounds like he really loves you. It's not like that, okay? And I'm not going to museum. Yeah. And then Al stepping in and, well, going to their spots, and Prospector even like assuring Jessie that she will come out of the box. I mean, because, Al's going to take them out of the package, and, well, he was about to take some pictures. It's showtime, and, well, when he went for Woody in a glass case, we see that, the string and such, well, Woody's arm is completely ripped off, entirely. Al panicking over this, and when he makes a phone call for a repairman, well, it can't be for tonight. It has to be, first thing in the morning. I just love that, right before Al walks off, all right, first thing in the morning. I just love that for some reason. And Woody, right after Al closed the door, just Woody, just, no longer freezing and just immediately panicking. So, yeah. And, some of the comments that Prospector and Jessie make, well, Prospector being kind of the positive one, and Prospector makes a very good point that, it's impossible, especially at this point, for Woody trying to leave the building, in his condition now. There's no way he can do so, and as Prospector said it at best, it's a dangerous world out there for a toy. And that is a fact, and that goes for Woody. The condition that he's in right now, yeah, just no way he can do it tonight. And when coming back to Buzz and the toy gang, roaming around at night, sneaking, and, you know, still trying to make their way to Al's toy barn, and, well, by this point, Mr. Potato Head, Ham, Slinky, and Rex, they're getting tired, but they know they have to keep proceeding, and Buzz making them clear, you know, and telling them, you know, did Woody give up when Sid had me strapped to a rocket? You know, no. And, you know, did he give up when you threw him out of the moving van? And basically, like, that was pointed on Mr. Potato Head, because that is on Mr. Potato Head, and I'm pretty sure Buzz, I'm sure as though, yeah, Buzz not being too happy with Mr. Potato Head on that, just, yeah. And Buzz giving this epic speech, and when we see the American flag, you know, we have a friend in need, and we will not rest until Woody is safe back in Andy's home, in his room. Now let's move out. And actually, for those of you that do or do not know, the worldwide release of Toy Story, not just in the U.S., but, you know, worldwide, you know, with Buzz making that speech, well, instead of the American flag, it's the globe, Earth and such, and a different piece of music and score, like Nations Around the World, like, yeah, that Randy Newman wrote and composed, yeah. I'm pretty sure as though, when watching it on Disney Plus, I think I might have. I think I did, because I think maybe a few times when I watched Toy Story 2 on Paramount Plus, it was that, the version with the globe. But when I rewatched it, and before, as of now, I'm doing my review, yeah, it's the American flag. So, yeah, and if you guys know this, and if you saw this too on Disney Plus by any chance, in the US and so on, let me know in the comments section. I'm very curious, but anyways. And yeah, when coming back to Al's apartment, by this point he has passed out with a bowl of Cheetos. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And well, slip out of his hand, his arm, and yeah, Woody, you know, seeing that his arm is in Al's shirt pocket and trying to go for it, and well, with all the Cheetos, like, on the floor, and when Bullseye steps in, yeah, and him trying to get the arm, well, having kind of bad luck, like, say, when Bullseye licks Al's fingers, but then, also when Al, you know, lets out a burp, like the cheesy smell, and Woody's reaction, oh god, so funny. Well, and sure enough, yeah, he does reach for his arm, but all that comes to an end badly when, out of nowhere, the TV turns on. Woody's Roundup, the theme to Woody's Roundup plays, and that, obviously, that wakes up Al, and yeah, and putting Woody back in the glass case, and Woody can see that the remote is right next to Jessie, and he thinks, and we think at first, that probably it was Jessie. And when Woody is accusing Jessie of this, and even when he really goes too far, you know, when saying, if the boot fits, and Jessie, pissed off by this, and, you know, lunging at Woody, and Prospector breaking them up on that, and just things really getting out of hand, and Woody is not really saying this to be mean to them, like, getting out of the building and going back. Like, he's not trying to really be that harsh on them and so on. You know, we know when watching this movie. And coming back to Buzz and the gang, well, by this point, because, yeah, and, you know, by the next day, they're still exhausted, but thankfully, and when Ham tells them and gives them a riddle, you know, why did the toys cross the road? Not now, Ham, says Buzz. Oh, I love riddles. Why? You know, something about a chicken and, you know, to get to the other side, and, well, they've finally made their destination. They've just about made it to Al's toy barn. However, they have to cross the road, and that's what happens. That sequence where they cross the road, you know, hiding under, you know, traffic cones, oh, fantastic. You know, and I'm sure some of you probably had seen the alternate version of them crossing the road, yeah. some of the animation was still used from the alternate take, just the characters and some of the vehicles, but the setting completely different, obviously. Yeah. And even like say in the alternate version, like they had just passed Dinoco. Yeah. And speaking of alternate, sequences, because the alternate, sequence, I should say, and how Woody ends up in the yard sale, well, the toys were playing this little game, and Rex being the antagonist and such, but things get out of hand, and when, Rex slips on like a roller skate and even like, causing Woody to fly out of Andy's room and on top of the roof and then landing in one of those yard sale boxes. Yeah, and if you know that. Not to mention some of those Squeak alien toys, the little green men, and LGMs for short, they were in Andy's room, but in the final film, they were never there until, well, the end of the movie, as we all know, but until I get there. Again, the crossing the road sequence, really good, because with the toys, crossing the road, and as Buzz shouts to them, drop with incoming cars, and the cars, and even a truck, like, making curves, and a truck, carrying a giant rolling, I don't know this, I can't remember the specific name of it, it comes off of the back of the truck, and yeah, how intense the music and score is, and Mr. Potato Head just this close to getting crushed, because one of his shoes got caught on gum, but thankfully he managed to get unstuck and got out of there in time. And little did the toys know what was happening, and they started that. The chaos now that's happening out in traffic being blocked, and even like a headlight, one of those, it falls over, it collapses. And little do they still know they're going the wrong direction, because, yeah, Woody is in Al's apartment, not at Al's Toy Barn. And when coming back to Al's Toy Barn, well, enter the Cleaner. And the Cleaner, that's how he's called / credited. The Cleaner being voiced by the late legendary Jonathan Harris, a.k.a. Dr. Smith, from the original Lost in Space. And not to mention, a year before he would voice the Cleaner, as we all know, he would be in A Bug's Life. He was the voice of Manny the Mantis, the fortune teller, the magical bug, not to mention, so many Bug's Life references and Easter eggs in Toy Story 2. Like, the model of a river, the model of the riverbed from A Bug's Life, Ant Island, being in the opening of Toy Story 2, where Buzz flies and makes his way to the planet, and apart from the floating rocks. And also Heimlich making a cameo when Buzz is knocking those branches down. The bug bar that's in A Bug's Life, that's in there too. And the plants and organic, some of the organic and plants are also from A Bug's Life, the models and such of the organic and plants. And even like say there's a Bug's Life calendar and a Bug's Life book that Mrs. Potato Head is reading. And, well, in Al's Toy Barn, we see some A Bug's Life toys. So, yeah, so many A Bug's Life Easter eggs that were in Toy Story 2. Especially a biggie that's at the very end of the movie. Oh, yeah, you know what it is, and I'll mention it when I get there. So, yeah, and not to mention, as we all know, the Cleaner being Jerry from Jerry's Game. Like, the Pixar guys decided, let's use the character of Jerry from Jerry's Game. Basically the model of the character of Jerry. And not to mention, fun fact, the character of Jerry from Jerry's Game was modeled after Jonathan Harris. So, that's kind of something that, hey, Jonathan Harris wound up voicing the character of Jerry / the Cleaner that was modeled after him. I'm sure it's obvious that Jonathan must have known that that character was modeled after him, and I'm sure, knowing Jonathan, he was probably flattered by it. And not to mention that, according to Ash Brannon in the commentary, if any of you had listened to the commentary for Toy Story 2, well, Ash Brannon made it clear that, Jonathan Harris, he loved working on A Bug's Life. He wanted to work with them again. And, well, Pixar, they wanted to work with him again. So, yeah, good to see. And not to mention, yeah, sadly, Toy Story 2 would also be Jonathan Harris's last Pixar film. Yeah. So yeah, The Cleaner, here to, polish and tidy up and make Woody better looking and such. Yeah, that whole sequence, and with Randy Newman's score of music, really good. Just that whole sequence, fantastic. And not to mention, some good things that The Cleaner did, obviously. From repairing Woody's arm to making his cheeks more rosy and fixing up some marks and such, the paint jobs. That's good. But a biggie that, oh my gosh, it's dark. Painting over Andy's name. Oh, yeah, that's a biggie. That's not a good one. Yeah. And, well, yeah, Woody now being polished up and The Cleaner, saying that he's been for display only. You handle him too much. And then Al, basically shoving him aside, it's amazing, you're a genius. He's just like new. And when coming back to Buzz and the gang, because, yeah, by this point, they've made their way to Al's Toy Barn, and, because at first having a bit of difficulty trying to get inside of the store, but when they figure it out, they all have to jump at the same time to get the automatic doors to open. Rex spots a manual, instructions on how to play the Buzz Lightyear video game and how to defeat Zurg. A little throughout, them in Al's Toy Barn, he's carrying and reading that manual. And then, well, the toys, they split up in search of Woody. Buzz goes off on his own, Rex and Potato Head, and Slinky and Ham. But at one point, well, because, say, for Buzz, he happens to come across, and is amazed by what he's seeing, a section of Buzz Lightyear action figures. Yeah, and some amazing, shots, especially the one, a long-distance shot and seeing Buzz walking. And actually, because one of John Lasseter's favorite shots, according to the commentary. Yeah. And when Buzz spots a new Buzz Lightyear with a utility belt, and yeah, and thus the exact same thing like in Toy Story, where Woody climbs up the bed and the camera shot, raising up, and we see Buzz. Yeah, same thing in this with Toy Story 2. It's the other way around, it's Buzz, and seeing another version of himself. And when coming back to Rex, Potato Head, Slinky, and Ham, well, by this point, Slinky and Ham, they found a ride, and thus, better way to search for Woody around the store. And Potato Head commenting on Ham's bad driving, and when Mr. Potato Head takes over, not really good at it, just a little, it's understandable, just, having trouble trying to make way and just, and Buzz just checking out his other self, am I really that fat, and trying to go for the utility belt, but sure enough, Deluded Buzz, enter Deluded Buzz. Looking at the IMDb page, as I always do, have IMDb up, it's not listed. I wonder why. Well, I get it. It's still Buzz Lightyear, but still, Deluded/new Buzz, however you want to call that Buzz in Toy Story 2. I guess, Deluded Buzz makes sense, yeah. Because, yeah, Buzz, Andy's Buzz, now having to deal with a deluded Buzz. And now, I guess, yeah, even now Buzz now sees, how Woody felt. Yeah, and Buzz commenting, tell me I wasn't this deluded, and he pretty much was. And now he's getting a taste of his own medicine, and Deluded Buzz just being over the top, and Buzz, well, he's not putting up with Deluded Buzz and with how he is, thinking that he's a real space ranger. But Deluded Buzz, well, no. He tackles Andy's Buzz and and ultimately, well, locking up Andy's Buzz in one of those boxes. But when coming back to Potato Head, Slinky, Rex, and Ham, they stumble upon one section of Al's Toy Barn where it's all pink with Barbies. And yeah, they just... Because, even Mr. Potato Head, you're a married spud. And, well, when Ham asks the Barbies, if if they know where they can locate Al, the Al, well, enter tour guide Barbie. And, well, can't forget to mention that the voice of every single Barbie is voiced by Jodie Benson, aka Ariel, the Little Mermaid. Yeah, so she's the voice of almost every single Barbie, and in Toy Story 2, the voice of Tour Guide Barbie, and she voices another Barbie that we see later on in the movie, until I get there. So yeah, Tour Guide Barbie helping out the toy gang, and Mr. Potato Head trying to keep it together. I'm a married spot, spot. And as I said, and Ham, make way for the singles, just, yeah. And then, well, the tour guide talk that Barbie gives them is hilarious. And when Rex blocks their view, it says how you defeat Zurg, and then they accidentally hit, you know, a container of those bouncy balls, and they go everywhere. And because then the car spins out of control and causing Rex to the manual he's reading to fling out of his hands and go underneath. Oh yeah, that's not good. And Rex catching up to them in a Jurassic Park moment, you know, view from the car mirror, just so funny. And when coming back to Andy's Buzz with Diluted Buzz, well, yeah, again, Diluted Buzz tying up Andy's Buzz, and yeah, and well, you know, not intentionally, but stupidly, the toys, they mistaken Diluted Buzz for the Buzz they know, and they are completely clueless, and they just think that, you know, Buzz has just gone a bit crazy and being in that Buzz Lightyear aisle, yeah, and questioning on where he got the cool belt buckle. And not to mention, there's one line that Barbie said when they first made their way into the Buzz Lightyear aisle back in 1995, you know, if you know that, and it's true, because of what happened after the release of Toy Story 2. Well, no, I mean the first Toy Story film. My bad. Okay, but yeah, so, you know, Diluted Buzz going with the toy gang, and, well, little do they know, because their Buzz being left behind, and they couldn't even hear him when he was shouting to them, "You got the wrong Buzz!" Yeah, they couldn't really hear him through the box, so, yeah. So poor Buzz, Andy's Buzz, that is, being left behind, and when coming back to Al's apartment, the numerous of photos that Al took of Woody's roundup, and, well, Woody is happy with the repairs that he has, and even Al, he received a call from, you know, the guy from Japan, you know, and basically, because with acquiring the Woody's Roundup stuff in the toy museum, yeah, because I'm in the car right now, I'm on my way to the store and to the office, you know what Al says. And again, Woody being over-the-top happy with the repairs and with his arm being fixed, and Jesse, you know, not thrilled and just, you know, great, now you can go, and Woody just, you know, well, what a good idea. And Stinky Pete, you know, telling Woody that maybe he should talk with Jesse, because, you know, little does Woody know what Jesse had gone through, and Woody, he does so, and if it doesn't help, you know, he'll do it. And when Woody trying to talk with Jesse, and you know, feeling sorry for Jesse, and you know, he knows that Jesse hates him for leaving, but if only she would understand. And when, you know, he mentions Andy, and, well, Jesse, coming back to Woody, you know, because she knows what it's like. She's been there. She had her own Andy, a girl named Emily. And that sequence, yeah, there's no denying, because the song number, you know, not to mention it's true, there are only 3 songs in Toy Story 2. One that is reprised, but in a new way, and 2 new ones. One of them being Woody's Roundup, being sung by the Riders in the Sky, and, well, a new rendition of You Got a Friend in Me that's played at the end of the film, until we get there. But this one, in particularly, being so heart-wrenching, you know, if not one of the saddest songs that Randy Newman had wrote, and what he brought to the lyrics and the words in that song, and What's-Her-Face who sang the song, fantastic. Even apparently, because it did make Tom Hanks and Tim Allen tear up. Just, I don't blame them, and who could blame anyone else tearing up over that heartbreaking song number and slash sequence, you know. Jesse's backstory, because Jesse was a happy toy, and with her owner, Emily, Emily, loved cowgirl stuff and, always playing with Jesse, even when going to a tree with a tire, with a, rope and such. And by the way, that tree with the rope tire, you swing on, it's the same tree model from A Bug's Life of Ant Island. So another Bug's Life model slash Easter egg in Toy Story 2. But at a certain point, Emily grew out of cowgirl stuff and now got into, nail polishing and stuff like that, and Jesse feeling sad and just that she's been forgotten, but maybe she hasn't, because Emily pulling out, Jesse from underneath the bed, and after Jesse collected some dust, and, well, because, yeah, possibly it seems like everything seems good now, and Jesse is once again happy. However, well, not exactly, because Emily dropping off Jesse and all of the other cowgirl stuff, that is Jesse, dropping it off at a donation, and Jesse being boxed and put into storage. Yeah. Heart-wrenching for sure, yeah. And Woody, because when we come back, and Woody, feeling so sorry about this, and, well, I mean, how is he supposed to know? How is he really supposed to know? And Jessie, because she was looking out in the window for supposedly one last time, looking at daylight, and, well, she just has Woody go, and, well, Woody, he's still going to leave. But then Prospector, kind of giving him some advice, but haven't got there yet. I mean, we know, of course, on the character of Prospector, but bear with me, because Stinky Pete, he was right on a few things in this movie. Like earlier, a dangerous world out there for a toy. It's true. And what he then says to Woody when he is this close to disembarking, well, Stinky Pete, asking and telling Woody, do you think that, Andy will take you to college or on his honeymoon? Andy's growing up, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's true, yeah, because there's nothing that a toy and Woody can do, and for Andy, he will grow up. And gee, especially when we get to the third installment, oh yeah. And, well, Prospector also telling Woody that it's his choice. You can go back or stay with them and last forever, and, making several children happy when they see him in the museum. And Woody at first believes that, maybe it's the right thing to do to stay behind. Who am I to break up the Roundup gang? And thus, he stays with them. But, that's how he feels at first. And when he wakes up and realizes that what the right thing it is to do. And when coming back to Al's toy barn, well, they're trying to search for Woody in Al's office. He's nowhere to be seen. Even when Slinky asks the two Rock'em Sock'em robots, the blue and the red guy, and not to mention that the blue guy, the blue Rock'em Sock'em robot, was voiced by director John Lasseter, and one of the co-directors, Lee Unkrich, voices the red Rock'em Sock'em robot. And one thing about the red Rock'em Sock'em robot, its ear, because it's based off of like a boxer or wrestler or someone. I'm sure you know what it is. Yeah. Yeah, it's just pretty funny, because with the Rock'em Sock'em robots, it's hilarious. Used to have, my dad actually used to have a Rock'em Sock'em robot toy, yeah, and who doesn't? I'm sure some of you might have the Rock'em Sock'em robots. Who doesn't love the Rock'em Sock'em robots? Yeah, they're a classic toy to have, just, yeah. Anyways, and we also cut to Rex giving deluded Buzz, although he thinks it's still their Buzz, giving deluded Buzz information on how to defeat Zurg, hidden in the left of the shadows and stuff like that. And then Al stepping in, and well, he's on the phone call with the guy, making a deal with, in Japan for the toy museum, printing out photos and such of Woody. And then they start to realize that, maybe they should follow Al. And, if they follow Al, they sneak into his in his bag, well, it'll lead them straight to Woody. Yeah. And so deluded Buzz, because mistakenly thinking that Al is an agent of Zurg's. Coincidentally, the voice of Al would be the voice of Zurg, as I said earlier. Yeah. And, well, Andy's Buzz, by this point, manages to get out of the box that deluded Buzz put him in, and yeah. And when, deluded Buzz and all the other toy gangs, they get in Al's bag, and thus Al disembarking from his store, and he was overjoyed on the phone call because the guy was gonna pay him and such. Yes, you got a deal. I'll be on the next flight to Japan and so on. And Al, just over the top joy, just he's gonna be a rich man. So yeah, it really shows because what a greedy guy he is, And again, it's obvious that he is one of the main antagonists of this movie from the toys' point of view. Yeah, right? Like I said earlier. And when Buzz notices Al walking off, and he can see out of his bag Rex's tail, and, Buzz gasps over this, and, well, he starts to follow them, and getting into clumsy situations like, those rubber balls that were accidentally unleashed, and, well, Buzz jumping on a trampoline, going for one of those monkeys, and trying to fly out of the store through the automatic doors, but they close just right when he smacked into them. Just, not enough time. And when he tries to, jump up and down to have the automatic doors be open, no luck. And, well, he sees that Al, he's just across the street. Yeah, because again, Al's Toy Barn being across the street of Al's apartment. And, well, Buzz has another solution to open the automatic doors, knocking down some boxes of toys and such. Yeah. So that works. And, sometimes it leaves you wondering, especially in Toy Story 2, the mess that, aside from crossing the road, I'm talking specifically about, like, say, an Al's Toy Barn, or say when they hijack a Pizza Planet truck. It just leaves you wondering, their reactions, the humans, when they see the mess in Al's Toy Barn, and the Pizza Planet delivery guy, when he discovers that his Pizza Planet truck is gone. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it just leaves you wondering, like, probably they just, So, yeah, after Buzz, he knocks down those boxes, well, in his hurry, he failed to notice that, well, he accidentally woken up, and freeing the evil Emperor Zurg from one of the boxes. Yeah, Zurg rises from his box, and he notices and detects Buzz across the parking lot, Zurg vision on the back of his head. And this was a little nod, and according to Lee Unkrich, this was a little nod to the $6 Million Man toy that Lee Unkrich had. My dad also having that as well. If you know that specific Bionic Man / $6 Million Man toy, yeah, a hole on the back of his head, you look through it, and yeah, the Bionic Man's vision. Same goes for the Zurg toy. It's amazing. I remember when listening to the commentary and my dad being in the same room, he was happy to hear that. Yeah, that's so good. Even Lee Unkrich was so happy when they did that for the Zurg toy, as a nod to the $6 Million Man doll. Well, you know what? Because the toys that the Pixar crew grew up with, and how some of that being incorporated with some of the Toy Story characters. I mean, it's like, in this case for John Lasseter, Buzz Lightyear was based off of a G.I. Joe that John had when he grew out of his Casper doll. And speaking of Casper, because Woody was inspired by John Lasseter's Casper the Friendly Ghost doll with a pull string, and yeah, so, which, John, he still had it after all those years, so, but especially at a certain point, the voice box wearing off, obviously, but John still managing to understand what Casper says. That's amazing. Anyways, so yeah, Zurg, Zurg obviously being deluded and, chasing after Buzz Lightyear. Destroy Buzz Lightyear! And speaking of which, another alternate scene, and for the original pitch of Toy Story 2, for its original story, we were just supposed to have Zurg in Al's Toy Barn. No elevator shaft sequence, none of that. It was all to be in Al's Toy Barn. That was all we would get of Zurg. With Zurg going at it against both Buzz Lightyears, but Andy's Buzz in this case, not amused and, having no problem with Zurg and him being shot at by his laser cannon. Just simply walking up while Zurg is shooting him and taking out his battery of his gun, and that the battery basically being his power module. Buzz threw it, and it landed in the Rock'em Sock'em Robot toy, and, the Rock'em Sock'em Robot's punching Zurg, and that's all we would get. But I think we'd all be glad with what we did get in Toy Story 2 with Zurg. Yeah, so anyways. Continuing on, because, by this point, Deluded Buzz and the toy, Andy's toys, they've made it to Al's apartment. Them, at first, having no luck trying to get out of the car, even when Deluded Buzz, suggests that, he can fly, out of the rooftop of the car, but nothing happens. And when Deluded Buzz, little does he know that he discovers to unlocking the car, and causing Mr. Potato Head to fly when he was trying to open the car door. Yeah. And Deluded Buzz, seeing that he's up at level 21. Yeah. And the suggestions that they make on how to get up top of the apartment to reach to Woody, maybe like finding some balloons or, pushing the buzzer and they're delivering pizza or something. But then Deluded Buzz discovers something, very good on him, an air duct, air vent and such, and thus them making their way through the air ducts, and even Deluded Buzz, mission log, making our way through the bowels of Zurg's fortress. And Andy's toys still feel that, he was spending too much time in the Buzz Lightyear aisle in Hal's Toy Barn. Yeah. And it just keeps getting more goofy when Deluded Buzz thinks that the walls are coming at them, closing in on them, when it's really the elevator that comes down. And instead of taking the elevator, Deluded Buzz has a solution like, climbing and just the gadget that he has. And while Andy's Buzz is on their tail and noticing where they're going and going through the air ducts, air vents, and such, And back in Al's apartment, he, by this point, is packing up. And, Stinky Pete, Bullseye, and Jessie, they're excited to disembark to go to the Toy Museum in Japan, and so is Woody. This time he's looking forward to it, but still, a big mistake on his part. And when coming back to Deluded Buzz and Andy's toys, them struggling climbing, and then when it's just not really working out, and Rex slips, his tiny arms can't hold on that much longer and climbing. Deluded Buzz has another solution, activating, with his utility belt, letting go of the wall, and a force field will make them float and fly. But little does Deluded Buzz realize, of course he doesn't, but thankfully, they don't meet their demise, because thankfully, just in time, the elevator shaft, was making its way up, and Deluded Buzz thinking that they are floating and flying. And as when they proceed on and they're making their destination at the right floor, Mr. Potato Head, commenting and talking directly to Ham, remind me to glue his dome shut, his space helmet. But little do they know, and well, of course they don't. Again, no hard feelings on them, but, stupidly, they do not realize that it's not their Buzz, the Buzz that they know, him not being deluded anymore. Yeah. And still, Andy's Buzz being on their tail, he managed to, get under the elevator shaft, as we see, and back in Al's apartment, well, time that they spend, they managed to spend some time to have some fun, reenacting Woody's roundup, and introducing the high roughest rootness tootness, Sheriff Woody, and Woody making an entrance. Say, little missy, you noticed any trouble around these parts? So funny. And if you've seen the behind the scenes of the Pixar crew acting out the animation, the specific movements, oh, it's so good. It's so good to watch that stuff. Yeah. Especially the nostalgia of, the early days of Pixar with the first movies that they made, especially. Yeah. And, well, not to mention because when they were still in Point Richmond, and not to mention Toy Story 2 would be the last film that they would do while still being at Point Richmond. And a year before, they would move to California, their new official home. Yeah. So, yeah, again, them killing some time, having some fun, reenacting Woody's roundup, and then when Deluded Buzz and Andy's toys finally, show up and they hear the voice of Woody and so on, well, they think he's being tortured, and by taking one of Mr. Potato Head's eyes, and it's so funny, and then, Rex asking, what are we gonna do, Buzz? Use your head, and them using Rex's head to break down. So funny. And yeah, little do they realize, but, they come in, they're here to spring Woody, as Slinky says, we're here to spring you, Woody, and them just, attacking Woody's Roundup characters. That's so funny. And when Mr. Potato Head, he tried to go for the angry eyes, but instead he went, yeah, you think that he'd be able to get the right eyes when he took out his other eyes. Yeah, impossible, yeah. But ultimately, yeah, because they get Woody and they try to make a run for it, but then Andy's Buzz showing up, hold it right there, and a little conversation between both Buzzes. I'm Buzz Lightyear, and Woody asking, so who's the real Buzz? I am, and best way to prove it, well, Andy's Buzz, basically turning off his space dome, no longer having it over him, and just gasping for air, and exact same sound effects and such like in the first one when, turning off his space helmet, and it's so funny. And yeah, and that's when Andy's Buzz shows Andy's name on the bottom of one of his shoes, and yeah, they know it's that Buzz. And everything immediately patches up with Deluded Buzz and such, and Andy's Buzz explaining on Woody and so on, and Deluded Buzz like, you mean yes, he's oh yeah, Your Majesty. So funny. And, well, now that they've found and rescued Woody, they can get out of there, but Woody is assuring them that it's all right, and that he wants to go to Japan. They learned this, yeah. And Woody basically explaining to them that, he was a star, and showing a sample of Woody's Roundup and so on. But to them, they're just like, what? And Buzz, like, he knows that this is ridiculous, and, he knows the true meaning and what is right. And Buzz, telling him, stop with this nonsense, and, and Woody, telling Buzz that he can't come home. And, they need him. And without him being with them and going to Japan, they go back into storage, maybe forever. And Buzz basically giving the exact same words that Woody gave to him in the first Toy Story. It's amazing, you're a child's plaything. You are a toy, how Buzz says it. And Woody's response, for how much longer? One more rip and Andy's through with me. And what will I do then, Buzz, huh? You tell me. And Buzz just telling him that, somewhere, there was a toy that showed me that, in life, and, what Buzz says. And Buzz, traveling all this way to rescue him because he believed, and so on, and God, what he says next, well, you wasted your time anyway. Jeez. I mean, that's what Woody feels at first, but, when he does realize a little later. And, well, what else can Buzz do? Yeah, I mean, Buzz can't convince Woody, and how disappointed Buzz is in Woody, and, well, then he tells the other toys that, it's time to go, and, what about Woody, says Rex, and, he's not coming, says Buzz. But Andy's coming home tonight, says Rex. Then we best be ready to be there when he gets back, says Buzz, and, yeah. And Woody telling Buzz, last thing he says to him, that he doesn't have a choice in what he feels that he has to do. And Buzz's response, to do what, Woody? Watch kids behind glass and never be loved again? Some life. Which, there's no arguing and no denying what Buzz says. That's the true meaning of a toy, to be played with, and so on. But, at the same time, it doesn't sometimes hurt to put our toys on display when we don't play with them. I mean, sure, because we like to display our toys, but we should, of course, play with them, because that's the purpose of a toy. I know this, and yeah, so... But anyways, and nothing intentional because of what I've said, but, anyways. So yeah, Woody feeling bad about this, but then when something else is playing on TV of one of the Woody's Roundup tapes, well, we hear Woody on Woody's Roundup singing You Got a Friend in Me. And, well, that's his song. And, yeah, I mean, that's Buzz and Woody's song, pretty much. Buzz even kind of hearing this, an echo of it, yeah. And Woody seeing a kid approach to the puppet version of Woody and hugging it, and that's when Woody realizes, and when he scrapes off the paint that was covering Andy's name, that's when he wakes up and realizes, what am I doing? And calling out for Buzz and the others to wait up and, telling Prospector, and still, Prospector was right, that Woody can't stop Andy from growing up. But what Woody says to him, I can't stop Andy from growing up, but I wouldn't miss it for the world. And that's true. And yeah. He can't stop him from growing up, but he wouldn't miss it, how much more playtime that he can have with Andy until the time comes when he does grow up and so on. Yeah. And, well, yeah, because telling Buzz that he's coming with them, and I just love that, because when he shouts for Buzz, yes, because deluded Buzz popping out, funny. And, well, before Woody goes with them, one more thing he has to do. He convinces Jessie and Bullseye to come with him, because, wouldn't Jessie give for one more time to be played and loved with by Andy this time? What Woody says to her, it's very true. And Bullseye, he's on board with this. Jessie, not really sure at first, but when Woody turns to the Prospector, he's not in his box. We see him out of his box. And this is where a twist happens. We discover and see that Prospector was mainly behind almost everything, from the TV remote the TV being turned on, framing Jessie, causing Woody and Jessie to get into a tussle and such, and also at times Prospector manipulating Woody, etc. And yeah, this is like one of those very earliest things where we get the surprised villain, that whole thing, and how it would be in a few other Pixar films, and also Disney, well, I can think of, say, Monsters Incorporated with Henry J. Waternoose, Otto from WALL-E, and on the side of just Disney themselves, well, say, Hans from Frozen, or Bellwether from I almost said Frozen, Zootopia, or, even say, kind of, yeah, King Candy from Wreck-It Ralph, kind of. Well, I mean, especially when it's revealed that King Candy was Turbo all along, yeah. So that kind of stuff, yeah. I feel as though that the whole surprised villain thing, like up at the third and final act of an animated movie, not bad. Well, not to mention, there's been some live-action films that have done that kind of thing, too, with surprised villains. You know, you didn't expect anything from them, and, well, turns out that, yeah, they're not who you thought they were. Also, can't forget to mention this either, it's another biggie. Rourke from Atlantis, The Lost Empire, him too, obviously. But yeah, so all along Prospector did all this, and even when, you know, trying to reason with Woody, and as Prospector says, I tried to reason with you, Woody, but you keep forcing me to do some extreme measurements and so on, and what we learn about the Prospector is, well, you know, he too, dealing with the same thing where, you know, wanting to be loved by a kid and such, but for a long time, he never got to experience that, and at a certain point, he gave up on the chance of being loved by a kid and being played with. He gave up on that entirely, and even when, you know, he basically makes it clear to Woody and Jesse, and when, you know, Woody says to Stinky Pete, you know, you really are Stinky Pete, are you? And Jesse then saying, Prospector, this isn't fair, and Stinky Pete's response is, fair? I'll tell you what's not fair. Spending a lifetime on a dime store shelf watching every other toy be sold. Yeah, we understand, but still, you know, it's also kind of like the same thing with Lotso. I mean, you know, I think it's obvious that Stinky Pete and Lotso, they do share some things in common, and if only they would have discovered that maybe possibly they would have been loved and played with by Andy. And you know what, Lotso, he too being another surprised villain, but a little later on in Toy Story 3, you know, but anyways. So, yeah, Stinky Pete is determined for all of them to go to the Toy Museum in Japan. And even like when he locked up the air vent and such, and insulting Buzz Lightyear and how he, you know, just despises the space toys, God, and saying his name wrong, silly Buzz Lightway. God, I love that. Well, and them having trouble trying to open it again, even when Rex suggests, you know, should I use my head? Oh, you want to do that again? Okay. But yeah, then sure enough, Al stepping in again, and well, now it is time for them to proceed on to the airport and making their destination to the Toy Museum in Japan. And well, but the two Buzzes and Andy's toys, them racing to the elevator shaft, but sure enough, Zurg once again shows up. Yep. And saying the exact same line that he said at the beginning of the film, so we meet again, Buzz Lightyear, for the last time. And yep, a battle between Zurg and Deluded Buzz. Yeah, they're a really good sequence. And them trying to get, you know, into the elevator, trying to open it and get to Woody, reach for him and such. And with that going on, yeah, because the battle between Zurg and Deluded Buzz, and of course, yeah, can't forget to mention this. A Star Wars reference, you know, because surrender, Buzz Lightyear, I have won. And Buzz, well, you know, saying that, I'll never give in. You killed my father. And then Zurg's response, no, Buzz, I am your father. And Buzz shouting no, God. I can only imagine, like, those that first saw Toy Story 2, how they reacted to the whole I am your father joke. Well, especially that goes for those that have done reactions, movie reactions to Toy Story 2 on YouTube. Oh yeah, especially them. And then, well, Rex being too distracted and worried about Deluded Buzz losing to Zurg and trying to reassure Deluded Buzz, you know, you just have to believe in yourself, and well, Zurg is about to, well, he thinks he will, but no, just obliterate Buzz, setting it to 11, his, you know, his blaster cannon and such. But Rex, you know, panicking, I can't look, and his tail hits Zurg, and because, well, Zurg, he does have wheels on the bottom, yeah, he basically rolls off of the elevator shaft, screaming and, you know, Rex happy that, well, he did it. I finally defeated Zurg! And deluded Buzz reaching and, Father. Because now he's, sad that he now just lost his father and such, yeah. And you know something? Because, when looking at, say, Lightyear, the movie Lightyear, that is, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to tell. I mean, Zurg and Buzz, they, the toys of them acting different, I guess. Well, obviously, and, apart from how they were portrayed in the movie Lightyear, Andy's favorite movie. Yeah. But anyways, so... yeah, Andy's Buzz and Andy's toys trying to reach for Woody. Slinky, well, because he has a Springer, managing to reach for the green case and opening it, and, Woody and Slinky reaching for each other. Well, but sure enough, Stinky Pete stops this, and yeah. And a little James Bond moment when they all fall out of the elevator shaft, and the apartment gates are about to close, but Mr. Potato Head quick enough to throw his Potato Head hat to stop them from closing. A little, James Bond, nod, And according to the Pixar guys and in the Toy Story 2 commentary. And then sure enough, well, because... because Al has now driven off, making his way to the airport, and how are they going to catch him? Well, as Mr. Potato Head points out to them, pizza anyone? Because, well, the Pizza Planet truck happens to be there, and yeah, obviously, they'd have to do the Pizza Planet truck a second time, because, well, that being a biggie in the first Toy Story, and, well, seeing as how the Pizza Planet truck, starting with A Bug's Life and from there on, aside from, well, yeah, I mean, still, with the Toy Story films, the Pizza Planet truck, being pretty much, one of the big main Easter eggs that you would pretty much see in almost every of Pixar's movies. That is with the, I guess, with the exception of The Incredibles, kind of. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And, well, for one last time, we see deluded Andy's Buzz, asking him if he's going to come along with them. But no, for deluded Buzz, he's staying behind, and, well, because as he says, I have a lot of catching up to do with my dad. He's got one of those rubber balls from Zurg's blaster cannon, playing catch or something. And Zurg, a bit damaged, and even one tooth, the light bulb is out. That's so funny, and nice attention to detail there. And Zurg, overjoyed, good throw, son. That's my boy. Go along, buddy. And yeah, oh, you're a great dad. And yep. That's the last we see of Zurg and deluded Buzz in Toy Story 2. And, well, Andy's Buzz, farewell. The Vulcan salute. Because, yeah, as you all know, Buzz doing the Vulcan salute, farewell and stuff like that. It's so funny, yeah. Well, and, not to mention the Pixar guys, them being Trekkies, and also not to mention the whole thing of, Andy's Buzz encountering deluded Buzz, that being a nod to Kirk meeting evil Kirk. If you know what I'm talking about, that being from the original series, you know. Okay, so then, well, them hijacking the Pizza Planet truck, as I did mention, yeah, the toys hijacking the Pizza Planet truck, and they happen to stumble upon 3 of the Squeak toy aliens, little green men, / the LGMs, yeah, and the little green men, once again, being voiced by one of the guys at Pixar, Jeff Pigeon, yeah. And not to mention other characters that he would go on to voice, like most notably Monster Bile in Monsters Incorporated after this, yeah. Well, yeah, because them trying to get the Pizza Planet truck to start, and when the little green men, point out to them, use the wand of power. Oh yeah, and I almost forgot that Jeff Pigeon, he also was the voice of Mr. Spell. Yeah, so he voiced the green aliens and Mr. Spell. And also, fun fact about the little green men, because According to the Toy Story 2 commentary, Andrew Stanton, he went on a little tour in Japan, a city tour for A Bug's Life. And when he came back, he basically said that he saw the aliens everywhere. It was huge in Japan, and, well, they knew that, well, obviously, they had to bring the little green men back in Toy Story 2, and, how cleverly, the idea, because, well, the Pizza Planet delivery guy, probably took 3 of the squeaked toy aliens and hung them up on the mirror. Just, yeah, pretty cool. And, well, the turns that they're making, Rex being the guide while Buzz is steering the wheel, and, and even, like, say, Ham, he's reading this, like, book and just, manual, and, oh, I seriously doubt he's getting this kind of mileage. When Ham says it's funny. And again, Rex guiding, Buzz, he's turning left, and making those turns and almost causing the little green men to fly out of the Pizza Planet truck. But thankfully, Mr. Potato Head saves the day, saving them, and, well, they are indebted to his saving. You saved our lives. We are eternally grateful, and they just don't stop bugging him. And throughout the rest of the Toy Story films, well, in this and in Toy Story 3, yeah. And what the little green men do in Toy Story 3, just, yeah. And eventually, yeah, they get to the airport, and, this is where, and I think starting with, the whole thing of them, getting to Woody and, the elevator shaft and Zurg, I think kind of from there on, the climax starts to build and so on, from leaving Al's apartment, Zurg on the elevator shaft, and when they take the Pizza Planet truck, head to the airport, and what happens, in the room with the luggage and bags making their way to the airplanes, that room. I'm sure you know what I'm saying. I think it seems as though that's what it is, the climax building and so on. But yeah, when they get to the airport, well, because they're parked at a white zone, and Rex pointing out to them that, we can't park here, it's a white zone, but what can they do? They're toys, and just, and them sneaking in one of those pet carriers in the airport. You would notice some background humans and 2 kids playing pat-a-cake. Yeah, even Ash Brannon pointed that out. So, and even there's one baby that a woman is carrying. It's the model of Molly. And the Ash Brannon in the commentary pointing out, somebody kidnapped Molly. Hey, I'm pretty sure that some viewers who watching Toy Story 2, they would notice that baby who looks a lot like Molly. That's Molly. Also, fun fact, the climax in Toy Story 2 originally, entirely different. Not to mention how the Woody's Roundup characters were portrayed. Well, Stinky Pete was still the same as in the final version, but Jessie was originally not Jessie. She was originally Senorita Cactus, and I've already explained on Bullseye, and, well, the climax would have been where a fight is going on top of Al's car, and I'm sure you know this, but yeah. But I think, again, we'd all be glad to see what was in the actual Toy Story 2, yeah. And as they go through the baggage claim and, hopefully searching for the green case that is containing Woody, well, yeah, a massive mammoth room of all the bags and such. And, this does predate Monsters Incorporated, because with the door vault sequence, like, look what Toy Story 2 had before Monsters Incorporated, a big set, just, and them, like, they kind of go down like a little drop and such, and they scream over it, but they think something's going to happen to them. Well, I guess, I guess, like, it is intense for them. Yeah, so. And Slinky spotting the case, but Ham and Ham spotting the case as well. Well, there are 2 cases that look exactly the same. So which one is which? Well, Buzz telling them, you take that one and we'll take this one. Potato Head, Ham, Rex, and the little green men, they go after one briefcase while Buzz and Slinky go after the other one, which basically Buzz and Slinky are actually going for the actual case. But for the others, well, even when at one point Slinky is accidentally caught on a baggage, his back end. Buzz, my back end's going to Portaroo. Yeah. But Slinky is okay in the end, and when he catches up with the other toys. And yeah, for Ham, Potato Head, Rex, and the little green men, the green case that they come up to, well, Woody's not in there, but flash cameras and stuff like that. And Ham commenting, hey, nice flash, though. Yeah, and it comes in handy for them in just a moment. Well, because when Buzz reaches to the case, well, when he opens it, out pops Stinky Pete, literally punching him. Take that, space toy. Woody, oh, nice on Woody's part. Hey, no one does that to my friend. Getting into a little tussle, but Stinky Pete is so far winning at this, ripping part of Woody's arm again, and Stinky Pete telling him, your choice, Woody. You can go to Japan, or in pieces. If he fixed you once, he can fix you again. Now get the box. Never, says Woody. Fine. And yeah, Stinky Pete not playing around, and how evil Stinky Pete is right now. And sure enough, Buzz and Andy's toys, they come in with the flash cameras and yeah, stopping Stinky Pete, and thus Stinky Pete is captured, and then Stinky Pete telling them, idiots! Children destroy toys! You'll all be ruined, forgotten, spending eternity rotting in some landfill. And Woody's comment, because, Stinky Pete, I think it's time you learn the true meaning of playtime. He does, moves his nose, does his nose a little, just, right over there, guys, is what he says, and the look on Stinky Pete's face, it's obviously not a good sign for him. Well, they basically stuff him in a little girl's bag, and when the little girl picks up her backpack and sees, as she says, look, Barbie, a big ugly man doll. Ooh, he needs a makeover. And yeah, Barbie, another Barbie toy, which being, Barbie on Backpack. That's how she's credited. Being voiced by Jodie Benson, obviously. And Barbie is facing this way, and Stinky Pete panicking, and hi, you'll like Amy. She's an artist. She's got so many stickers on her. And Amy would be yes, she is, yeah. Huh, well, even, she also voiced some of the green aliens, apparently. Debbie Derryberry. The same voice of Jimmy Neutron, as well as for us Disney fanatics, especially for the Disney parks, being the voice of Patricia in Carousel Progress. Yeah, that's her. But of course, as we all know, she'd probably be best known as the voice of Jimmy Neutron. Yeah, so. And, well, from right there and then, Stinky Pete, losing his vintage, he's done for. Yep. And, well, Stinky Pete, in the end, he technically got what he deserved, and, he will get to experience playtime, but a bit rough, because seeing the Barbie with stickers, yeah, so, anyways, yep, that's the end of Stinky Pete. He's met his demise, and last thing that Woody says, happy trails, Prospector. I'd like to point out that was apparently memed, the whole happy trails thing. Happy trails insert so-on-so. I prominently had seen this on Facebook. If any of you, by any chance, know what I'm talking about. I'm just saying because I know what I saw, okay? I swear I'm not making this up. You know what it does kind of feels like it would be memed? Well, mainly for photos, so yeah. Not just for, memes not just being for videos, but for photos as well, okay? So yeah. Anyways, so yeah, after Stinky Pete meets his demise, again, happy trails, Prospector. Well, trying to get Jesse and Bullseye out of the green case. Bullseye got out, but Jesse, not enough time, and it slides down, and well, the green case is being taken off to, the airplane that is about to disembark for Japan. And well, Woody, along with Bullseye and Buzz, making their destination to save Jesse. And yeah, that whole sequence where they're reaching for, the luggage and being stored on the bottom of the plane. Yeah, and great music being composed as Bullseye rides, dun, 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 dun. Yeah, and just, again, Randy Newman, sorry. I need to slow down. Randy Newman, his music and score in Toy Story 2, fantastic. The music that he has brought into some of Disney and Pixar's movies, fantastic. Just fantastic. What more do I have to say on Randy Newman? Well, not just the music and score that he has done, but also songs that he would write. Yeah. Most prominently, You've Got a Friend in Me, When Someone Loved Me, It's the Time of Your Life, I Wouldn't Have Nothing If I Didn't Have You. I could go on, just, yeah. Anyways, so yeah, by the time when Woody, he reaches, and making his way to the green case, well, yeah, sneaking on and getting in one bag, with golf equipment and such, and, with the glove handles, and the balls. Yeah, he spots the green case, opens it, and Woody's saying, "Excuse me, ma'am, but I believe you are on the wrong flight." Yeah, and, Woody still reassuring Jessie that, yeah, she'll be okay, and, to go home, her to go home with them, and Jessie asking, "What if Andy doesn't like me?" "Nonsense, Andy will love you, and besides, he's got a little sister." "She does? Why didn't you say so?" Like, yeah, why didn't he say that in the first place? Because she likes the sound of that. So, anyways. But pretty much, it's mainly Andy who plays with Jessie, not Molly. But, yeah, even when Toy Story 3 happens, even, with them growing up and with Molly, just, listening to music and what she does to poor Barbie, but anyways. So them trying to get out and escape the airplane, but it's too late. When they were about to, get out of the plane, the doors already close and, hold it, there's a couple of more, bags coming from the terminal, but, too late, put them on the next flight, and, well, the plane is about to disembark, and how else are they going to get out? Well, an escape hatch, basically, on the bottom of the plane. And, "You sure about this?" asks Jessie, and Woody's response, "No, let's go." Then carefully sliding down, but ultimately Woody slips. But actually originally, according to Lee Unkrich, originally Jessie was going to slip, and Woody was to save her and to hold on to her, but that was switched around, and yeah, that was much better in the final version. Not to mention, it's out there on YouTube, if by any chance you guys had seen this, where apparently Stinky Pete would still be there, and there would be a little fight that goes on as the plane is about to take off. Like, Stinky Pete would be right there at the tires, and yeah, but ultimately Stinky Pete would meet his demise when the tires close in, and, well, Stinky Pete obviously, ended up in a worse situation, like tire marks on him, presumably, but yeah. But I feel as though what happens to Stinky Pete in the final film and what happens in the climax, I think all of that turned out really good. What about you guys? What do you think? Yeah. Woody's arm still, ripping some. His hat flies off of him, but Buzz manages to catch it. "What's a cowboy without his hat?" And, well, Woody coming up with an idea, telling Buzz and Bullseye to get behind the tires. He whips out the pull string and, having it attached to something and, well, telling Jessie to let go of the plane and, just pretend it's the final episode of Woody's Roundup, and Jessie, "Are you crazy? And it was canceled. We don't know what happens, and, well, then let's find out together." And, well, she lets go, and they swing, they land on Bullseye, and, well, the plane takes off, and everything is better. Yeah, everything is good, They're safe and sound, and not going to Japan. Yep. Even after Jessie commenting, saying that was Woody's finest hour, well, another plane comes in, almost, landing on top of them. Good thing they were just, a hair's off, where the plane, was about to land, and them and just, shock and Woody, let's go home. Yeah. I like how Woody and Jessie, they're okay when Woody says let's go home, but Bullseye and Buzz, they're still shocked by it. I just find that funny, And, well, we see Andy returning home, and, that same evening, there's no sign of Woody on the shelf, and, well, he turns and sees on his bed all the toys being there, and Edge, what's written on Edge, and this is really cool, welcome home, Andy. And Andy, he's happy to see, and, oh, wow, new toys. Cool, thanks, Mom. Obviously, yeah, he thinks his mom got him 2 new toys, which, of course, being Jessie and Bullseye. And already, he's having some playtime with Woody along with Jessie and Bullseye. And as the camera pans, we see out of Andy's window the luggage carrier, the vehicle and such. They stole it, and that's how they made their way back to Andy's home that same evening. And the 2 couple coming out the next morning, and because we just about see the husband about to take a sip of his coffee. They're puzzled by what the heck they're seeing. Yeah. Oh, I love it. I even recall because that made John Lasseter crack up. The guy we just about see him taking a sip of his coffee. Yeah. But anyways, and the epilogue. Well, by this point, the epilogue, and well, Woody has officially been mended. And it's thanks to Andy. Andy fixed his arm, and Andy, as I said earlier, he obviously knew that it was, just not take any chances and risks, taking Woody along with him while, with his arm being ripped, because, his whole arm would have completely ripped if he had taken him still to cowboy camp. Yeah. But, at the same time, after all that happened through Toy Story 2, something great came out of that adventure when they tried to rescue and find Woody, and, well, Jessie and Bullseye came along. And now, Jessie and Bullseye are a part of the family. They're now Andy's toys. His name is written on them, on the bottom of their shoes and feet, and Bullseye just, fixing that. And a moment with Buzz flirting with Jessie, and Jessie, she gets it, and, even she finds Buzz a cutie. Aren't you the cutest space toy I've ever seen? And another funny moment with Buzz and Jessie, they notice that, well, something's wrong with Buster. Slinky interacting with Buster, and, well, according to Slinky, this little fella says he needs to go out for some private time, and Jessie, saying, that critter needs help, and getting on one of those Hot Wheel tracks, with a loop, and, well, basically flying and opening the door, and to Buzz, his wings detach. He definitely has a crush on Jessie. And, especially when the 3rd installment came along, the more we got from them. So good. Yeah. But for Toy Story 2, a little tease and a little taste of that. But anyways. And we see Ham, he's trying to play the Buzz Lightyear game, and he even asks Rex for a hand on, playing the game, but Rex, he doesn't need to, because as he says to Ham, I lived it, and, well, Ham loses, and accidentally changing the channel, and we see, for one last time, Al shooting a commercial, and he's depressed, he's sad, because he didn't make any books, because, well, didn't go as planned for all that Woody's Roundup stuff at the Toy Museum. Yeah, well, good riddance to Al, because he technically got what he deserved. So, yeah. But little did he realize, what was actually going on and with the toys. But, Anyways. And Bo Peep complimenting on Woody with his strong, muscular arm being fixed, and Woody complimenting that too, nice and strong. And yeah, Bo just in love and just, finds it very attractive with his muscular arm. And another moment with Mr. Potato Head and the Little Green Men. And when Mrs. Potato Head realizes, and when they say that you saved our lives, we are eternally grateful, she is just over the top and just, you saved them! Let's adopt them! And the Little Green Men now referring to Mr. Potato Head as Daddy and poor Potato Head. But, good things coming along Mr. Potato Head's way. for him and Mrs. Potato Head, with them being their adoptive children. And we see Wheezy stepping in. He has a new squeaker. He's been fixed. Woody's happy to see that he is. And just so happens that, in the end, Wheezy being played with by Andy and installing a new squeaker. Yeah, according to Wheezy. And Woody asking him, "And how do you feel?" "I feel great. In fact, I think I feel a song coming on." And Mr. Mike, that's his name, tossing to Wheezy the microphone, and Wheezy singing a new rendition of "You Got a Friend in Me," and Wheezy's singing voice being the late, legendary Robert Goulet. Yeah, and I mean, no offense to the original version of "You Got a Friend in Me" that's sung by Randy Newman. This one in Toy Story 2 that is sung by Wheezy, his singing voice, Robert Goulet, it's really good. It's catchy. Oh, I especially love towards the end of that song. Oh my gosh. I'm sure you would feel the same way too, yeah. And, a little party happens with, Wheezy singing "You Got a Friend in Me," and, I'm pretty sure, this predates when some, not all of them, but just about a good chunk of computer animated films ending off with a dance party and so on. You know what I'm saying? It's so obvious, but with Toy Story 2 and what they did, it was perfect, and there were some other good ones that would come along the way. Shrek 2's ending was a pretty good one, yeah. But not every single computer animated film having them end off with a dance party and stuff like that. Okay, I'm just saying, And with Woody, he looking outside of the window and seeing that, Andy is having a good time and, helping Molly to walk, and, even Andy saying that he can teach Molly how to drive, because Mrs. Davis asking Andy, do you think she's able to drive? And and I can teach her. And Buzz approaching Woody, and the dialogue that they have, pretty good, because "You still worried about Andy? Nah." I love how Woody says that. That's so good, nah. "It'll be fun while it lasts. I'm proud of you, cowboy. Besides, when it all ends, I'll have old Buzz Lightyear keeping me company for infinity and beyond, as a best friend / good friend should." Yeah. And "You Got a Friend in Me" finishes off, and apparently out of nowhere, 3 Barbies are there, backup singers. Why are they there? Who cares? Even what John Lasseter and the others had to say about that in the commentary, But what a great way to end off Toy Story 2 with "You Got a Friend in Me" and Wheezy. Yeah, but it's not quite finished yet, because obviously have to mention and talk about the outtakes. Because this started off with A Bug's Life. And actually, originally, Pixar was considering doing outtakes for the first Toy Story film. But when they were thinking about doing that, they didn't have the time, as they were just about finished with the first Toy Story. So when it came to A Bug's Life, that's when, now they can do outtakes. And then they continued this for 2 more movies, Toy Story 2 and Monsters Incorporated. And it's a shame that they didn't do any more outtake stuff. But I think, with the 3 Pixar films that had outtakes, they worked and they're really good. Yeah. The outtakes that are in Toy Story 2, hilarious, of course, like Woody getting stuck, or Woody pulling pranks on Buzz with, say, his dome or his wings, or the stuff that Mrs. Potato Head stuffs in her hubby. Funny, choppers, or wind-up choppers, or some Play-Doh, or monkey chow for the monkeys. Those monkeys, those barrel of monkeys. Funny. And the little green men talking normal, and just one of them saying that they're doing a toothpaste commercial. Oh, and there is one I have to mention, because apparently, you know this, and you know what I'm going to say. Even my mom knew this, what I described to her. And when I described it to her, she she was dying of laughter because, yeah, I'm sure you know. Even before I'm now about to mention this, Toy Story 2 on Disney Plus, one outtake is missing. And that being the one where Prospector, Stinky Pete, is interacting with two Barbies in his box. And, I'm sure I can get you a part in Toy Story 3. I'm sorry, are we rolling? Okay, off you go now. If you know, you know. But it's still funny. Good thing that, we have our DVD and Blu-ray copies, or even say, owning this on digital, Prime, and stuff like that. Not having to watch it on Disney Plus. You know what I'm saying, but yeah. But overall, because the rest of the bloopers in Toy Story 2, hilarious, and even when it ends off with Tour Guide Barbie, bye-bye, bye-bye, remember to put all popcorn buckets and stuff like that, and, are they all gone? Good. Oh, my teeth are killing me. I think I need a break. Yeah. What a great way to end off Toy Story 2. Yeah. Because the version with playing the bloopers, it continues playing Woody's Roundup, but the alternate version with just the credits, no bloopers, we have Woody's Roundup, but the full-length version of You Got a Friend in Me. And I just love that where, and just like with, say, A Bug's Life and Monsters, Inc., how when we end off seeing the Castle logo and the Pixar logo ending off with what's left of those songs, It's the Time of Your Life and, You've Got a Friend in Me, the jazz version with Robert Goulet singing it, and in Monsters Incorporated, I wouldn't have nothing if I didn't have you. Really good, really good. And I can't forget to mention it, in the bloopers / outtakes of Toy Story 2, cameos of Flick and Heimlich, and Flick and Heimlich once again being voiced by Dave Foley and Joe Ranft. And basically, they think that they're on the set for A Bug's Life 2, but, that's what Flick thinks. But Heimlich, he's trying to address Flick, it is a 2 movie, but it's not A Bug's Life 2. Well, then I don't understand what they realize, and when, the director yells action, Buzz flicking off the branches, and with that, Flick and Heimlich falling down and screaming. Oh, that's so good. That was a pretty good cameo. And how, we would once again see a couple of the characters from A Bug's Life come to life again. Yeah, and hearing their voices. Yeah, Dave Foley and Joe Ranft. And to name off, just very quickly, some of the other voice cast members, yeah, because Jack Angel, he voiced Rocky and the Shark. I don't recall, the Shark maybe did have a little bit of speaking. Cheryl Berenstein, she voiced a Barbie girl. Roger Bumpus, the voice of Squidward, he voiced a clerk. Corey Burton, he voiced the Woody's Roundup announcer, because, Cowboy Crunchies and such. And the late Mary Kay Bergman, she did additional voices, but she most notably did the yodeling for Jessie, because, yodelay-hee-hoo, how that yodeling sounded in Toy Story 2. And also other voice cast members from Jessica Evans, Bill Farmer, Pat Fraley, Jess Harnell, yeah, because some voices that they had, and even Pat Fraley. Well, obviously this have to be for the outtakes, apparently, because he voiced some of the Al's Toy Barn Buzz Lightyears, because one blooper where Buzz belches, one of the Buzz Lightyears belches, and, I don't remember eating that. Even another blooper where Woody pulls a joke on Buzz, trying to make him laugh, where he's in one of the Buzz Lightyear packages, and Buzz, he just can't help but laugh. It is funny, so. Oh, Woody. Yeah. Also, and even Sherry Lynn voiced one of the other Barbies as well. So not just Jodie Benson, but yeah. Also Carly Schroeder, apparently, voicing Amy's mom. Okay, yeah. But anyways. Yeah, and Molly Davis, that was Lee Unkrage's little daughter at the time, Hannah Unkrage, yeah. And, yep, Robert Goulet, he's uncredited as the singing voice of Wheezy, but, yeah, anyways. But, yeah. Toy Story 2. yeah. Again, like I said, what a fantastic computer animated sequel of a masterpiece this is. Just, yeah. Everything about Toy Story 2 is perfect. Practically perfect in every way, as Mary Poppins would say. The story to Toy Story 2, fantastic, perfect. The characters, new toys stepping in from Woody's Roundup, Barbie finally stepping in, and, you know, she was originally considered to appear in the first Toy Story, but you know that. The evil Emperor Zurg, Wheezy, Mrs. Potato Head, the antagonists of this movie from, well, Zurg, Prospector, and Owl. Am I not wrong? Because them being 3 antagonists in Toy Story 2, technically, you know. And with deluded Buzz being there, Andy's Buzz having to deal with what he was like at first, yeah. The locations and sets that the characters went, the music and score, the animation. I think it still looks fantastic. Don't you think so too? I'm just saying, you know. And the funny, heart-wrenching moments, best way to say it, yeah. And the surprised villain moment with Prospector / Stinky Pete, and with 2 new songs and a new rendition of You Got a Friend in Me, and, you know, to know and learn that so much went in to making Toy Story 2 for 9 months. Man, you know, the Pixar crew, they did a heck of a good job bringing us the first ever computer animated sequel. And look what would come for Pixar next after Toy Story 2. Moving to a new location, which would be their new prominent official home, you know. And yeah, and as Ed Catmull said it best, when it came to them doing Toy Story 2, they learned who they really were, just how Ed Catmull said it at best in the Pixar Story documentary. Yeah. Just overall, Toy Story 2, a masterpiece of a computer animated sequel. This is, yeah, what more do I have to say? And I'm giving Toy Story 2, isn't it obvious? 10 out of 10 stars. Yes. 10 out of 10 stars for Toy Story 2. And what about you guys? What did you think of Toy Story 2 itself? The very first time you watched this, any of you by any chance, you know, seen this in theaters, like when it first came out, or if you got to experience this like I did when the first 2 Toy Story films were re-released in 3D. Yeah, that was a great experience to see both of them on the big screen, and this time in 3D. Did you grow up watching this constantly like me, you know, being a 2000s baby? Is Toy Story 2 one of your favorite Toy Story films? What are some of your favorite moments? Some of your favorite toy characters? You know, any of you got good laughs? You know, tearful moments as well? You guys teared up? Which are some of your favorite songs, your favorite sequences? Just, yeah, overall, what do you think of Toy Story 2 itself, and with what I've had to say, and with my review? And yeah, what did you think of my review? Leave comments and give this review video a like as always. And so, with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of Toy Story 2. More review videos are on the way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I'll see you guys in the next video / review. And, well, Animated Sequel Movie Week has just begun. Stay tuned later tonight, because the next computer animated sequel that I'll be reviewing, well, to best describe it, we get the return of someone who went from being evil, trying to steal a moon, but his whole life changed when 3 girls entered in his life and what would come next to him and when he would find true love and something bad would happen to the minions. Yeah, I think you know exactly what it is. Yeah. Again, stay tuned for that. Take care, and until I review Toy Story 3, peace out, and to infinity and beyond. And, hey, Zurg, anything you want to say right before this ends off?